Today, we're going to be rescaping my zebra pleco aquarium to try and give them the best possible chance at breeding. The zebra pleco is definitely my favorite fish in the entire aquarium hobby, hands down. Why? Just look at them. I mean, these are one of the coolest fish that you can find. There's literally nothing like it. That zebra pattern just, for some reason, does it every time. And a lot of people who already watch the channel know I'm colorblind. So maybe having a black and white fish, for some reason, I just love it. I've had these zebra plecos since 2020 and it hasn't been smooth sailing. I was very, very lucky. I originally got 9 and grew them up for years. I ended up breeding them in 2023. Absolute breakthrough moment, super exciting. I got a bunch of babies, about 22, something like that. And earlier on this year, the luck ran out and I ended up moving these fish to my home fish room. And you would think that being at home would make it easier to take care of them. But for some reason, I just ran into even more problems. I ended up losing all of the babies and I lost a substantial amount of the adults to 2 accidents. We had a power outage and that's when I lost the adults. And then only 2 months ago, I lost all of the babies in a super tragic mistake where I didn't dose the dechlorinator properly in a rush. So now it's crucial more than ever for me to breed these fish. I was looking in the tank the other night and out of the original 9 in my adult colony, I think I might still have 4 or 5. So we're going to give it our best chance to breed them. It's August. And the last time I bred this fish, it was, I think, the end of October. So we're gearing up to the time when I last did this. So I really want to, leading up to that date, get these fish in condition and ready to go if they are seasonal spawners. So there are people out there who breed this fish commercially and absolutely smash it and make a bunch of them. Unfortunately, I'm not that person. I'd be happy to just get one spawn and absolutely would just be over the moon to try and breed them again. This male here has been guarding this cave and has even started to fan, which is a great sign that they're getting ready to breed. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just give you guys a quick wrap on what zebra plecos are, kind of their care and their breeding. And then we're going to get into the actual rescape and reset up. Zebras are high pancistrous, so they're a little bit different to your normal ancistrus like your bristlenose. They're actually quite a lot different. They are a carnivore, so they're carnivorous, and they come from the Rio Xingu. They only come from a specific part in the Rio Xingu. They're actually nocturnal. The Rio Xingu is a fast-flowing river in the Amazon, and it's hot pretty much all year round, about 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely so warm. I can't believe that there's a place like that. I would absolutely love to go snorkeling there. But they come from a very fast flowing river and they're found quite deep. So I think that they do breed at really quite deep depths in between cracks of rocks and crevices and things like that. Now in an aquarium, that's going to be hard to replicate because I can't have a 10-meter deep aquarium, but we're going to try and set up something that like looks a bit like that. Something that makes them feel like they're deep underwater. There's videos of them in the wild. I'll put those on the screen. This setup is very, very different to where they come from in the wild. And the last time I bred them, they were in a bare bottom tank that had some slate and caves and that was it. And I just did a lot of water changes and that seemed to be what kicked them off. Now, I could do that again, but since they're at home, I really want them to look like they do in the wild so I can really enjoy this fish in its most natural form. My goal is not to mass produce zebra plecos. I mean, I'd love to, but my goal is not to do that. My goal is just to get this fish as happy as possible. So happy, in fact, that it breeds. So the first thing that's wrong with this setup compared to the Xingu is that there's driftwood. I'm sure there's pieces of, there's bound to be driftwood in the Rio Xingu, but the videos that I've seen, zebra plecos aren't on the driftwood and the driftwood's not hurting the tank, but they don't rasp on it like other plecos do. So I just see it as pointless. Now, I was a little bit confused to find out that they were carnivorous and I haven't really understood the feeding habits of this fish until recently. I've been doing a lot of research on them. So my idiot's take on how these feed a carnivorous way in the Xingu is that the fast flowing water traps a lot of things under rocks. There might be pits of the Xingu where like lots of like stuff is building up in the flow, like little larvae and things that have washed from higher up in the river. These fish go and kind of just sit and eat that stuff. And they also eat little microorganisms and things that are on the rocks, like little shrimplets, all that sort of stuff. So the driftwood's not really doing anything in here. We're going to get rid of that. The other thing that's wrong with this tank is the plants. I've got some crypts in here. They're doing really good and they look really good. I think I'm just going to keep them. Probably not. I'm going to be ripping them out. It's a shame because they look so good, but Basically what we're going to do is try and make a fast flowing riverbed. I've already made one change to this tank, and on top of the 2 sponge filters that are in here, I've added an additional canister filter. The reason for this is I'm trying to get the water as clean as possible, like the Rio Jingu. We're trying to get 0 nitrates and 0 nitrites, and of course, 0 ammonia. This is impossible in the aquarium hobby. We're always gonna have a little bit, but the canister filter is gonna help with that filtration, especially with the biological filtration. And we're gonna just try and eliminate all of that from this tank. I've already got a heater in here and it's pumping a little bit cooler than I'd like, about 27 degrees. Hopefully that 27 degrees will raise as the temperature naturally rises going into summer here. And that might be what kicks them off. So I'm not too worried about that. But what we're going to do is complete rebuild on this tank. There's also a poor little single whitefin ornate tetra that we're going to take out of here. And they're also sharing their home with a single super red bristlenose female. So I'm just going to leave her in there. She's not affecting them or harming them. Actually, not a single one. There's a second one here. Whatever. I'm happy with them in there. They're going to help keep the algae down. Now, a fun little fact about these guys, they're actually endangered in the wild. And I think it's because they come from such a specific part of the world. From what I've heard, apparently they built a dam. These were a very, very big hit in the aquarium hobby originally because of how they look, and they were heavily fished for a long time. Actually, collecting this fish is banned now, which is great, I think. So any that you buy now have been captive bred by breeders, and this is why this fish is so expensive. I was also really curious, how does a fish get a pattern like this? From what I've discovered from my very limited research is that the depths only allow a certain amount of light through, and light kind of goes through the deep rocks like rays, and those rays naturally created their pattern, like that little zebra pattern. The white and the black between the rocks helps them camouflage. For a long time, I actually think I've been keeping this fish wrong. Yeah, I'm going to be really trying hard to fix that up today. So the key things about their habitat in the wild, we need a fast flowing aquarium. We need high oxygenation. I think this is already covered from the canister filter and the 2 sponge filters. The tank desperately needs to be warm. And for the water parameters, we're going to try and keep the water as soft as we can. Out of the tap, my water's decently hard. So at the moment they're on tap water, but this is a good opportunity for us to trigger this fish. I'm going to do this setup, keep them in the tap water because they're happy in it. And then I'm going to use soft RO water or rainwater to try and bring that pH down, and hopefully that might kick them into breeding. So the way this fish breeds is they are cave spawners. So in the wild, males will find a cave like you can see this male here has found, and they'll protect it. They'll make it their territory. They'll try to lure a female who's ready to breed into it. They'll trap the female in there. She'll lay her eggs. He'll fertilize them. Then the female gets kicked out and he takes care of the babies until they hatch. He'll even rear them all the way up until they're tiny little mini zebra plecos, at which point he'll kick them out and then probably do another batch. So they're actually very easy to breed when you get the eggs. It's just getting the eggs is the hard part. Another thing about this fish too is they're highly nocturnal. So often when people are talking about plecos, they always say, oh, why would you spend so much money on a fish that you never see? The reason you never see them is because they're actually nocturnal. So when I come down to the fish room at night, these are all out and about, and that's the best way to see them. For a true aquarium hobbyist, it's like so cool to see something so different and so rare. All right, I think I've done enough talking. I've blabbered on a while here. I'm just so eager to get in this scape. So I'm going to get my hands dirty. Let's just get into it. Before we rip it down, I'm going to show you guys one more look at it. So you can see this male down here is the one that's been out flirting. And there was a female the other night who was sitting around one of the caves and looked like she was thinking about doing something with him. At home, you might be thinking, why are you ripping it down if they're happy? Why are you changing anything? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The reason I'm doing this is because we're not going to be altering the water chemistry. Adding new rocks to taking out the driftwood might alter it a tiny bit, but not so much that it's going to really affect this fish. And if I'm going to breed them, I want to do it properly. I don't think they're going to breed in the next 7 days or 2 weeks. So I figure right now is probably the best opportunity to tear this down and create that Jingle aquarium that I really want to do. That's why I'm doing this. You can see I really want to remove this poor whitefin ornate tetra. She's not happy in here. And I'm also going to probably take out this poor female betta. Since I've added the canister filter, it has severely increased the flow. A lot of things in here have to change. You might not know it as well while we're looking at this. There is also a colony of gold laser cories in here. They are heavily nocturnal as well, and you only see them at night, really. They do come out in the day sometimes, but they're very skittish. There is one in there. I'm going to leave them in there. I don't think that they're obviously not from the same habitat, but I don't think they're going to affect the zebras with breeding. Like, they're not going to bother them. So I'll be happy with that. You can also see there's just so many cherry shrimp in here. I'm probably going to take this as a good chance to remove some of them. A few in here is all right, but having a lot in there might irritate them. I will be taking them out too, but all right, let's get into it. To do this scape, I have got these big rocks here. I've collected these myself. I think these look really, really pretty. I've got these two here. I'm going to use these. There's a skinnier cave here. I think this is probably the best size to breed them in. It's just big enough that the adult can fit in there and trap a female. So I'm going to be adding this cave, and this one is not getting added. This is for another tank, so I'll leave this over here. And I'm probably going to go out to the backyard and find some more rocks and just start stacking it up. So I've just finished tearing it down as much as I want. This is kind of the annoying thing about renovating a tank. It does get dirty, and I'd love to start this fresh, but I can't afford to do it with the fish. So what we're going to do now is I've taken the hardscape out, taken the plants out. It's literally just sand and fish. I've also taken out an absolute ton of shrimp. It's not even probably half of what's in here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about the shrimp. I think I'm just going to have to constantly catch them out of here and try and stay on top of their population. I don't know how many Zebs are in here, and there's never a better opportunity than now to try and get a good look at them and potentially get some photos and sex them. So I can figure out if we've actually got males and females, because if I look at it and it looks like they're all males, then I know that I need to go and hunt for some females. What I'm going to do is start taking them out and actually get a good look at the fish, but I'm going to keep them in their water. And then what I'm going to do is, once I'm done looking at them, put them back in like they never left. They just got caught. It'll be a little bit stressful for them, but they'll be fine. They're adults, they're resilient. And after that, by then, hopefully the water clears up a little bit so we can start doing some hardscaping. I thought I might as well film me catching them as well. Kind of boring, but we'll do it anyways. This will also let us know how many fish we have too. Problem is they're all going to stick to the back. Might be better to just try and hand this one, to be honest. Put my hand on a fish now. Squeaking away. There's one Zeb. Don't feel anyone else down here. I actually think this one's a female. I'll get a good look at her. Come on, girl. That's 100% a female. That's got to be a female. Now, I know there's at least 3. I've seen 3. Imagine if I had 2 pairs. Then what will we do? We have to split them up then. Maybe I can get a male or something. I think that's everyone. I'll have a little look around for some more, but I genuinely I don't think there's more than 4. I'll be so happy if there's more though. But I don't think there is. Damn, so we've lost 5 this year. Wow. That is painful. Oh well, we've still got 4. On the bright side, we've still got 4. Sammy just came down as well. It's late, isn't it? It's time for bed. Hey, you want to go on your bed? Come on. On your bed. You can watch me. You want to see me do a zebra escape? Yeah, okay. All right. Now, I want to get these back in the water as soon as possible, but the first way to sex them is from above, so I'm going to get some really good pictures of that. And then what I'm going to do is do some vent sexing. We're going to go grab the fish. I'm going to take a really good photo of its vent, so that way we can look at its ovipositor and figure out whether it's a male or a female. I don't know how to do the vent sexing. I'm going to pass it on to experienced breeders. Let's have a quick look, and then I'll give you my analysis after. I'm going to do a video of each fish and bring it back in. Oh, it's just so hard to grab. Okay, I think this one's a male. Great. Come on, I need to look. They're actually really slippery. Okay, there's the first one. What do we reckon? Someone smarter than me will be able to tell me. What do we think this is? That to me looks like 2. That looks like a male. Okay, off you go. That last clip was 46 seconds, and these guys, their name is L046. So, I don't know, is that a sign? All right, let's see for the second one. Grab one that looks like a girl. Oh my God, this is definitely a girl.
that's some poop, because if that's blood, that's not good. I don't know. It's probably as good as I'm gonna get. Okay, there's the vent. I'm guessing that one is a female.
Okay, next one. Oh, great. That's good for it. Idiot. Luckily, they're pretty resilient fish. Okay. Female. Female.
And this one is the last one. And that's the last one. What do we think?
Okay. Whew. That's all the fish. So it's always a relief to get them back in the tank. I dropped one from like almost head high. That's not good. I feel a little bit embarrassed about that. But now we're gonna let the tank settle down and it's time for a rescape. But I'm gonna spend some time and look at these photos and message some people and see what people think. I think there might be a good chance that we have 2 pairs. And if that's the case, that kind of changes everything. Because if that's the case, what I'm gonna do is to just diversify my portfolio here. I'm gonna take 1 pair and I'll put them into another tank, a smaller tank, and I'm gonna do like a dedicated breeding tank. And then I'll leave the other pair in here and treat them both as like breeding tanks, but set up one not like the Jingu, which we're trying to do. So, okay, it's now time to rescape this thing. So it's cleared up a little bit. I accidentally left one of the caves in here, and I do have this bulbitis here. This is a big healthy plant. So what I'm going to do is just leave this in here. I'm going to cram it in between the rocks, and look, it's definitely not going to affect the plecos, I don't think, in any bad way. You can also see here just the amount of flow that this canister's been adding. Look at that, absolutely roaring. So what we're going to do, I've got some rocks down here, but I don't think I have enough big rocks. So I'm probably going to start with these huge ones, put them in first to make sure I don't squish anyone. And then I might pack some little ones around it and put the big ones in. Now I'm going to try and poise them so that there's gaps to put the caves. What I'm going to do with the caves is, because I might need to take them out at some point, I probably won't, but just in case I do, in case there's like a bad trapping or something, I'm going to cram them in after into gaps so that they're not built in as the structure. They're actually removable. You'll see what I mean. So, all right, let me get into it. Okay, well, that's it done for now. Scaping is always really tricky to film, and when you do a dirty reno like this, it's even worse. So I'm just going to show you guys the finalized product tomorrow when it settles down and actually looks good, and I think the fish will settle in. But while I'm here with you guys, I'm going to talk you through some of the logic. So obviously it's not a beautiful aquascape like, MD Fish or someone like that does. I do want to see him do a tank like this, and I'd love to see how he would do like a Jingu setup. I think this is as close as I can get to like a biotope. For obvious reasons, I can't mimic like 8 meters down below the river, but this is as close as I think I can get. So I can see into the back of each of these caves. I can pull out these 2. I'm pretty sure I can pull them out. And this one I can't pull out, but I don't think they're going to breed in it. I've got a feeling they're going to breed in this one if they're ever going to breed. I've also added like a ton of crevices and like little cracks and things in between the rocks. Everything's pretty sturdy. I've like balanced it all. So hopefully they'll be safe. But yeah, basically they'll be able to get into all these crevices and hide and feel comfortable. And the reason I think this one, there's a big crack right here, and I feel like a female might be able to hide in there and a male can park up right here. And this cave is hooked like this. So he'll be able to put his like eggs right in the back corner. It gets decent flow, but the other one that they might breed in is this one. But to be honest, now that I've said these 2, they'll probably breed in that one. And also good news, I've gotten messages back from some of the people who I've messaged about the sexes, and they actually reckon we've got pairs. So we'll just see how they go in here. If they start breeding, I'll split them up, but I'm just going to leave them for the next couple of months and let them do their thing. I'm not going to touch them again. I'll see you guys tomorrow when it clears up, and we'll have a better look at this tank. Right, so it's been a couple of days and here is the tank now. It's kind of finally settled in. For the first few days, the zebras were like super scared, weren't coming out, they were super anxious. But they've settled in a little bit now. They get where they are and the tank's really cleaned itself up, and I've done a few things. So you can see I stack the rocks like this. Now I'm really just trying here to imitate the Jingu. And I've got a bunch of videos. There's this really cool guy, Leandro Sousa, who is a scientist who actually studies these fish in the wild. He's filmed them in their natural habitat. And this really helped me to understand and make sense of where this fish actually comes from to try and give them the best environment possible for them to breed. So basically, it's just a really fast flowing river, no plants, bare bottom, lots and lots of mulm actually, which this tank is kind of missing, but like lots of like debris in the water. And during the dry season, this is when they breed, the water gets really warm. It forms these fast channels and that's when they start to breed. So when it really picks up the pace, and I've added this extra power head here, and this power head is just pushing water right in front of this cave. And I'm trying to keep all of the caves super oxygenated. So that makes it really easy for them to fan eggs. And I've added a few options here. So they've got this cave here where they could like bury their eggs into the back of it. They've got this one here where they can like tuck them behind. This is like an L shape like that. And then this bottom one where they can throw the eggs over the top. So we'll see what they do. This is the first male here. He's finally claimed a cave. He's only been on this one for like today, which is why I've decided to film, because you can actually see one of the fish. The other three, I see them periodically, but they have really nestled in here and they're hiding. So they should be okay. I'm sure I will see them. Like I didn't crush them or anything like that. So they should be okay. But there's still so many shrimp in here. And like I've just seen shrimp babies all over the place, like especially down here in the front. There's just like shrimp babies. Can you guys see those in the screen? Look at them all. They just huddle up in this pit and just break down any food that they don't eat. You can see this tank also has lots of flow just from the canister filter. There's lots of oxygenation coming in too from the sponges. And I have made it so that I can pull the sponges out if I ever need to, which will make it like really easy to keep this tank clean. But now I'm just going to leave them. I'm going to condition them and feed them. And I'm just hoping that this is, you know, look at this. This is such a better environment for them. Just super fast flowing. And also it's super warm. I'm running at about 30 degrees Celsius right now. So my energy bill is definitely not loving this tank, but I'm loving this tank. So, okay, so today is the day that I'm going to be pulling out the wrigglers from our male. So as far as I know, he's still on them. So it's now been about 3 weeks since I last spoke to you guys. It's been a really busy period for me. Last weekend, I just finished up opening my new store, so I haven't really had time to film in here, but I've been holding back on posting this video because I have really good news, and I was actually super surprised this even happened. So since I've set this up, which was about just over 3 weeks ago, this brand new tank, I've had not one, but 2 spawns. And of course in the cave that I was least expecting. But this male in here has been doing such a good job. He has pretty much instantaneously, the fish wanted to breed. It took him a few days to settle in and figure out where they were and where the caves were, and kind of like, I feel like these zebras are a little bit territorial. So they had to set up their little spots in the tank. But straight away, this male has claimed this cave. And this is the same male as the one that we were talking about earlier on in the video. He claimed the cave, trapped a female, and I watched them for about 2 days. I was a little bit worried that he was gonna beat up on her and like she wasn't gonna lay any eggs, but she ended up laying a really small clutch. I got my torch in and had a really quick glance, just not to stress them out. I just wanted to make sure that there was actually eggs in there. I saw some eggs, I don't know how many I saw. I then put a towel over the tank and just left them. I just did what I did the first time I got a spawn. and just made sure that he wasn't getting stressed out and let him do his thing. I let him hatch the eggs, and I got them to like a small stage where they like looked like a baby zebra pleco, but there was still a yolk sac. And I decided to pull them out and put them into the Zis breeder box that you can see up in the top corner. We sell these on our store, so if you guys want them, they're really, really good for breeding plecos. I took all the babies out and we only got 3, which I'm still happy about because 3 is better than none. What that makes me think is because that's such a small amount, there's either 2 things that have happened. The females weren't in condition to breed and she laid a really small clutch, which makes me happy if that's the case because it means that they're just so happy in here that they were going to breed regardless of if the females were fully ready to go. Or the second reason is that he's not a very good dad and he was eating a few of the eggs in the clutch, or some of them weren't fertilized properly, and that's why we got so few. But because he did hatch them out and raise them to the size that I needed him to, I'm very hopeful for this second batch. So I took the babies out, literally 20 minutes later, he was back in there with another female and trapping her again the second I took the babies out. So they're just on cloud 9, they're so happy. Every time I get eggs, I don't touch the tank, I don't change the water. I just wait until he hatches them out and then I start doing the water changes, and I'm feeding very lightly to this tank as well while he's in there. I just don't want any distractions. I'm just letting him do his thing. We can definitely go into more detail about this fish in a future video, I think. I'm just super stoked that we got them to breed in the first place. Like I said earlier on in this video, I wasn't expecting these fish to breed for a very long time. And for them to have done it within 5 days of me redoing the tank was actually insane. And probably one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced in the hobby, because this year has not come without its challenges. I've had a really hard year in regards to keeping my fish. I've lost some really big things that I've been keeping for a long time during the move into bringing all these fish home when they were previously in my old breeding room. So to go from having, 25 babies or whatever I had at the start of the year to 0, and also having my adult colony go from 9 down to 4, it feels like a massive win to actually continue on with the project firstly, but secondly, to actually get success. I feel like in a way, it's like we kind of came back and won the grand final here, and I'm just over the moon happy. It's one of the most rewarding things when a project like this pays off as a fish breeder. And look, there's a lot of people out there who'll say that this is an easy fish to breed. I'm not one of those people, and for me, any win in the hobby, if it's your first time keeping guppies and you get a guppy baby, if it's your first time keeping shrimp and you get a shrimp baby, if it's your first time keeping mystery snails and you get them laying eggs, it's still the exact same feeling, and we all got to start somewhere. And no one is an expert in this hobby. I am yet to meet someone who makes no mistakes. So all you comment warriors, move aside, let me enjoy my moment. Yeah, I've had a really good time breeding this fish and making this video for you. So probably one of the most rewarding videos I've ever made. Yeah, I really didn't do anything special. All I did was try and mimic the natural habitat of where this fish comes from, down as close as I could, and they just really appreciated it. So super high flow, super high oxygenation, nice warm water, pretty neutral pH, and tons of rocks and hiding places and a few caves, and some really good food. I was feeding them bug buffet and they fired. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.